Hey everyone, it's Michael and
Ruben
from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, bringing you all the chaos. And when I say chaos, we mean chaos from downtown Melbourne.
It kills me that we weren't actually able to go live at 2:30 because I'd like to try and be fairly punctual with it, and we were not able to this week.
I think the camera's cutting my head off, mate.
Yeah, you just got to
just me.
You got to drop into the seat a bit.
Oh well.
Again, framing is an important thing that happens in that time.
I don't
before.
know. I go hunting for him just before the live stream. What's he doing? Sitting out the back with his feet on the desk.
Not serving a customer.
Oh, mate, it is chaos. It was funny, actually, because the first, what do you reckon, Rubes, hour of this morning?
It was pretty quiet at the start.
It was dead. I thought, because I'd kind of, was thinking, it's Friday and, yesterday the weather was a bit ordinary in Melbourne, so that usually means the next sunny day it gets a bit more exciting, and it's it was a pretty tame takeoff. So I'm thinking, man, we got heaps of time here, and then...
It hit.
Yeah, then it hit about 11 o'clock. Might have been a bit before that. Just, the wheels fell off and away we went.
Why? That's the question I'm going to pose to you. What is there anything happening? What's because kind of over the last couple of streams we've said, hey, things are busy, and we've kind of been able to pin it to one direct thing of the banks are doing this, or there's panic because of this. Is there anything causing it this week, or is it just the fact that it's a shortened week? That's the other. That's the thing I'm going to blame.
That absolutely doesn't help. The fact that we're packing 5 days into 4. But every customer that I dealt with today, every single customer that I dealt with today has been saying, everyone's waking up, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, all that sort of stuff. So there is a degree of, I wouldn't call it panic, but there's a degree of expectation out there. And I think that's driving a lot of it. And also we're seeing, we often joke around here how when price goes up, we get busier. When price comes down, we get slower. And it should actually be the other way around. But obviously we've seen the prices go up quite a bit. So it's causing busyness. The big question is this the end of the run upwards? What do you reckon, Rubes?
Ooh. I'm going to say yes for a bit. But I think if we... That's my guess. But I think if we stay above kind of some of those fairly significant figures in US dollars, then I can't see it dropping back, like all the way back for quite a while. Yeah. That's my guess. Because I think we've broken through like some of those big numbers, and I think it's held above them long enough for it to this be a serious thing and not just a quick run and then a recorrect afterwards. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I agree. I don't think the trouble is there's two discussions that go on with this one. One is whether are we talking US dollars or are we talking Australian dollars?
Yeah, and that's the big one.
I think the gold price has got a little bit further to run. I don't think it's like hundreds. I think it's got a little bit further to run, and then I think we'll either see a pause or we'll see an easing. That's a gut feel. If I actually look at the charts, I actually disagree with myself a little bit, but I try not to read the tea leaves too much. But the gut feel is we need to be we need to be having a bit of a breather soon, and that would be healthy if we saw a bit of an ease back from here. The confusing part is what happens with the Australian dollar, and at the moment it's on a bit of a tear. If that stops or reverses direction, irrespective of what happens to the gold price in US dollars, for us poor old Australians, it could drive the price up quite a bit higher if it eased back to, 67, 66, or heaven forbid even came back to 65 US cents to the dollar. We could really be really looking at serious dollars in Australian dollar terms for the gold price. So yeah, it's that bit of a which way is it going to go? The short answer is I don't know, but I'm very, very, very carefully watching our hedging. I can put it that way, because it wouldn't shock me to see it either run up hard in US or run up hard in Australian dollars. But if I'm completely honest, I'm looking at it pausing at not much more than this.
To the couple of people saying there that they want us to show the line outside, that probably runs into some privacy issues. But I wonder if we need to set up some 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 dummies out there or something to show just how packed we can fill it, just to show how packed that elevator bay can get sometimes.
Well, I haven't done it yet because I haven't had chance. But the other day when I was here, there were 6 of us serving flat out. And I came outside the shop door. I think I was racing up the other end to grab something. I came out the shop door and there was over 20 buying groups. So whether they were individuals or couples or 3 or 4, there was 20 individual groups out there queuing, as well as the 6 groups that we had inside the store. And for those that have been in the store, you know how cozy it can get when there's 6 different people in there at any one time. So, or 6 different customer groups. So I would say that I don't think the queue's quite as long as 20 out there, but it would still be up in the mid-teens, and that's queuing to get in. So
you need some extra help, Michael.
Yeah, we do. Actually, funnily enough, now you mentioned that.
There's my handball.
We are actually looking for someone. For those of you that would possibly know, Lewis finished up with us a month ago. Be a bit longer than a month ago now, wouldn't it?
I've kind of blinked in the last month's gone by.
So Lewis was doing a lot of our back-end stuff for us. So excuse me a moment. I've got asthma at the moment. It's flaring up like nothing else. Lewis looked after a lot of the back-end stuff, supported Adam, who looks after our stock control. And he went back to Adelaide to go back to university, and so we're looking for a replacement. So if you're in the market for a job, feel free to send in your resume. And where are we going to send it to, Rubes?
Resume at bullionnow.com.au.
So it's resume. Resume. Yeah, that's right. resume at bullionnow.com.au. If you're in the market for a job, like I said, it's not a customer service job, this one. This is the back end supporting Adam in the pick and a lot of the stock control type stuff. Please send in your resume, or if you know someone that is in the market for it. And you don't have to have a huge interest in stacking, but it certainly does help around here. So
particularly when you are looking at products and being able to kind of tell the difference between a 2022 version of something versus a 23. Yes, you can look at the year, but if you've got a bit of an understanding of this design versus that, or it can seriously make a difference when you're trying to do your job there. So
attention to detail is critical in this job, particularly this one. I mean, it is over the counter, but this job. Sorting through coins that the only difference is literally the difference between a 2 and a 3 on one side of it. It gets hard work after a while.
So there's a couple of questions coming through about products coming through and things like that. Saw one there asking about kilo silver kookaburras. Do we have any idea yet when they're likely to come through?
No, but the kilo silver rabbits turn up very, very, very soon.
There you go.
Which will be good. Yeah, looking forward to those.
Infused silver eagles from Perth Mint. Any word on delivery?
No, but that's more that I haven't chased them up than anything else. I don't know about those ones at the moment.
No worries. We got a thank you there from Roxy's dad for sending out his Ningaloo Eclipse coin.
I still like that coin. Matt's not as much of a fan of it as I am, but I think it's a stunner.
Yeah. There's been some interesting things with the packaging on those ones. Perth have made some changes. I'm going to leave my comment on it there.
They've gone, for those who've watched Matt and I and Rubes get stuck into the Royal Australian Mint over their packaging, and we've always gone, this is the RAM packaging. We understand that they're going more environmentally friendly, but the quality has slipped. Look at the Perth Mints. Unfortunately, we can't make that comparison any longer.
Yeah. Let's leave it there. Wombat says, what do you think, what would happen to the gold/silver price if the US dollar was no longer the reserve currency? Are we still going to base spot price in US dollars even if no one's using the US dollar? What's
for the rest of my lifetime, I would say yes.
Okay.
I think that's an interesting call. Australian currency is not going to become the world reserve currency. If we're not comparing it to the US dollar, we'd be comparing it to possibly something like the yuan whatever becomes the standard trading currency in an eventual fallout would be what we're looking at. But yeah, at this stage, and I know there's a lot of negativity around the USD, but it takes a heck of a lot to change that over. That's not something you're going to do overnight in a hurry.
Yeah. But I guess that's the question. Is it likely to have serious ramifications on the gold and silver price whilst that changeover is happening? Because it isn't going to be just a quick switch flip. It's going to be this big thing. Is that going to cause...
why.
Yeah, okay.
Why are we changing over? Is it because, the US has sunk into the ocean and exists no more? That's a completely different argument to the fact that, well, we're phasing it out in favour of, we're doing a Brexit with the US dollar. It's being phased out over several years.
Yeah, that's fair. A couple of questions about the 5-ounce Queen's Virtues. There's a lot of people waiting for that series. What happened to answering the curly questions? You can't just answer them with a...
The problem is I'm not sure I can give you a very good answer on that one.
Yeah.
I haven't heard word of them yet, which is terrible. But yeah.
There has been... I'll start with this one. Have we heard anything about the next in the Myths and Legends series out of the Royal Mint, the Merlins?
No.
Are we likely to get any? No? All right.
Are we likely to get them? Was that the next question?
That was the follow-up to that.
I don't know.
We'll wait and see.
We are on an unofficial boycott of the Royal Mint at the moment.
Alrighty. Does that include Gold Britannias? Because there's been a couple of other questions about them.
No, probably doesn't, because we don't have an issue with those.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I've got to be really careful because obviously we're on the World Wide Web here at the moment.
We are, and live. What could go wrong?
But yeah, look, I've got on my hobby horse about this before. I'm really struggling with the Royal Mint at the moment.
Yep. The other thing that I have to bring to your attention, because we have had so many people asking about this, more John Wick coins rounds.
Jeez, didn't they go off like a frog in a sock?
I knew they would. I have been asking for those for well over a year at this point. We finally managed to get some through, and I said, how many did we get? And I told, 300 or something. And I went, that's all, is it? Well, that's going to last 2 seconds. And it did. But I tried to get everyone to comment on that video to
He's trying to use peer pressure.
I am, absolutely. Because I know that I know for myself that it's something that I've wanted for a while, and I know there will be a lot of people out there as well that are specifically chasing the gold ones, but also more of those silver ones. So yeah, this is me using my soapbox to say, come on, let's get them in. And to the people we have responded to, I think we've said we are actually trying. We've just we've got to wait for them to come in. We've got to see what we can order, and given that a new movie has come out in that franchise recently, there's a lot of interest in it, and so it's going to take a while to get through potentially.
We are looking for I know there's been a couple of comments going through. Now I've got my glasses back on. There's a couple of comments about the gold John Wicks. We are absolutely looking into the golds. We're also looking, they've done some John Wick bars in, I believe, 5 and 10 ounce.
Are they bars or are they larger versions of the coin?
My understanding is they're bars. I actually haven't seen them.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware, they've got some bars, and we're looking at bringing those in.
Yeah, I did hear there was some word of some larger sizes, so yeah, that'll be good. But yeah, golds are a first on the list for me, and more of the 1 ounce, and then we can.
So I'll put you down for a couple of golds.
Go for it, because I know there'll be plenty of people interested to buy them off me, even if I can't hold on to them. Yeah, see, there you go, Stephen. You get them, I'll buy them. Yeah, that's it. I've got at least one buyer there already.
All right. Mark Fleming's got an interesting question there. So, Michael, I'm very cautious about investing in PM, so precious metals, until it comes down, so meaning the price comes down. Why should I dollar cost average in this hot market? And I reckon that's I don't think there's a correct answer to this. I don't think there's a correct answer until you can look backwards. For example, I still have a customer that comes in here semi-frequently, although they haven't been a customer for a while, and they are still waiting because they are refusing to dollar cost average above $2,000 Australian. They're still waiting for it to go back below that. Now, I think they're going to be waiting quite a long time for it to go back below $2,000 an ounce, if ever. But so there's that side of it where obviously that person, started making this statement at $1,700 Australian an ounce, said, 1,700's too much, and then it kept going up above that. And then it went up and down, and no, definitely not buying until it gets below 1,700. And then it moved through 2,000, and it was, I'm not going to buy now until it gets below 2,000, and they're still saying that. So you've got a point that that it is up at the moment, and why should I dollar cost average in? Because sometimes you can get caught by this very scenario that I've just painted. Dollar cost averaging should ignore price altogether when you're doing it properly. You don't care. It just means that you're buying a little bit less when it's dearer, and you're buying more when it's cheaper. So if you start, the advantage of dollar cost averaging is that you're blind to price. So you're always buying it, so you never get caught out. The disadvantage, obviously, in a dollar cost average situation is this scenario here where what if the price now comes down? I tend to use the best of both worlds with this thing, and Matt and I have had this argument on camera a number of times where Matt's a very firm believer in dollar cost averaging, so I don't care what price it is. I tend to be more of I dollar cost average and I don't care what price it is, but I keep a reserve to the side so that when the price is down, I buy a heck of a lot more than when the price is up. So at the moment, I'm still buying gold for myself, but I'm not buying as much as I would do. I'm squirreling some of the money off to the side so that if the price comes down 100 or 200 or heaven forbid $300 an ounce, now I'll start allocating that little bit that I've put to the side. I'll start allocating that back in again. So the only reason we're going to know who's right and who's wrong is 6 months' time when we look back and say, well, actually, it was only $3 an ounce then. It's now $3,500 an ounce. I should have dollar cost averaged in because that's what dollar cost averaging is about. Or, we might be looking in 6 months' time and it's $2,500 and you can be saying, I'm really glad I didn't dollar cost average in then because I can now. But you are removing the advantage of dollar cost averaging by doing that, where you just close your eyes and you buy it.
I was gonna say I'd be great at investing in general in stocks, precious metals, cryptos. If I could have hindsight and go back and do certain things.
Like I keep saying, if I had the crystal ball, we'd be having this conversation on my yacht out in the Mediterranean somewhere.
That's it.
It's difficult to it's difficult to predict the future. If it wasn't, there you go.
I specified in chat there, but you were talking AUD there for them waiting for $2,000 an ounce, not US. So yeah. That's it. We've separated quite a bit from that. There was some times where I actually remember you saying that same story when it was kind of 2,400, 2,500, but now that we're over the 3, it seems quite a while ago. Yeah,
I know we say that though, but the last customer I served before I came out into here, second last customer I served before I came out here was telling me how he'd sold his silver at $48 an ounce during the Hunt Brothers cornering of the market. And he was saying he sold out at 48 Australian.
Yep.
He went, I think it was 48 Australian, he was saying. It went to 53 and then it collapsed all the way back down again.
Yep.
And we haven't, other than one small brief period in those, I think it was 2011, we haven't seen it go through $40 an ounce since then. So, they could be right. If they hang out long enough, we may see it back below 2,000 Australian.
Might.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zimbunji is relying on your crystal ball, apparently. Weekly crystal ball. Sorry, I just need to put this up. Yeah, let me do that real quick. Yeah, there we go. We did have a question come through in regards to you and financial advice, or rather not financial advice. The question was basically, if you start a sentence with "I think" or my opinion or whatever, does that kind of negate you having to mention that it's not financial advice? Or?
No. Well, it kind of does. I mean, if you lead off with "This is my opinion only," that's the equivalent. But if you go "I think," well, we've got to be really careful from a straight out legal perspective, because despite the fact that we don't consider ourselves experts, we are experts in the industry. Like, we work in the industry. And so if people rely on what we say, there is an argument there to say, actually, I'm relying on what you're saying. So by saying I think, it carries a bit of weight. So we need to be, it's the old Spider-Man statement, with what is it? With great powers become...
Great power comes great responsibility.
I
was half tempted to see you just try and tag you
butcher that one.
Yeah. create a new Bullion Now version of the saying.
But yeah, so, you need to... I'm always on the fence with this one because, like I just said, there's an expectation of us or of any person that's got any form of credence or credibility that gets on camera and makes statements. There's an onus on them to actually be very careful doing it. But there's also an onus on the people viewing it going, I'm getting free information from some random that I've never actually physically met and sat down with. I've never explained my situation to them before. They know nothing about me. There's got to be a certain degree of self-responsibility in that as well. So, it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah. How much longer do we have any idea on the Germania OneOunce bars that we've said we're getting through? We are getting those through. Do we have an idea on how far away they are?
I actually thought they'd arrived, but they haven't. They can't be more than a couple of weeks away.
There you go. By the way, yeah, thank you, Jamie, for that question about the financial advice. That one made me smile. That was good. So there is a couple of email questions that have rolled through. So I'll hit a couple of those now, if you don't mind, and we'll see what people are saying. We've got one here from Ozguy. Says, hello, BN family. Can I suggest that when you get an interesting buyback, such as the 1,000-ounce silver bars, old gold nugget coins, or interesting Perth Mint, PM stock, could be Perth Mint or precious metals, that you put some of them on as auctions so that customers that don't live in Melbourne and can't get into store or can't get on within minutes of the video going up still have a chance of getting them via the auction process.
What do you mean? Are we selling out within minutes of putting videos
people
up?
Are saying.
Who'd have thought it?
Chances are you also get a better price for the auction items with lots of people bidding on the one item.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on doing, a buyback video or something and then having at least, a portion of them released as an auction item?
I think it's a great idea. And in fact, in our quietness this morning when Ruben and I sat down to plan out this live stream, we actually were going to bring in one of the buyback bars from that previous video that we shot, from the ones that have been dug out of the ground, and there was some vintage bars in there and some beautiful toning and stuff on them. We've still got at least one of those bars here, and I thought it would be a great one to actually have here for the live stream and then put it up for auction once we'd finished it. So keep an eye out. I don't think we're going to get a chance to do it today by the look of the queue out there. But maybe next week we'll actually put up for auction one of those. Really, it's a really nice one if it's the one I'm thinking of. One of those bars from that live stream.
Yeah.
Or wasn't a live stream, but yeah, you know what I mean. You can stay away from Michael's stack. Somebody came out of the shop before and said, "Oh, thanks for letting me have whatever it was, out of your stack." I said, "Oh, sorry, I don't know what Brett got this out of your stack." No, this was yesterday. And I'm not usually in Melbourne on Thursdays. I went, "What?" Brett had snuck into one of my stacks and sold this guy some of my gold coins out of it, thinking that I wasn't in town for the day and he'd get away with it. Wow. Mongrel.
It wasn't until the customer confessed on it. He would have gotten away with it too.
Wasn't happy, I can tell you.
We have another email question here wanting you to go through some finer details on Unallocated. Hi, Michael. Just wondering your policy regarding utilising any unallocated metals through an email. Do you consider the spot price on the day that the email was sent, or the day that Bullion Now read and responds to the email? Before, it may not make any difference, but with some increases in time to email responses and with the price being so volatile, it might affect the price a little bit. There's another follow-on that I'll go to after you finish that. Okay,
there's two things kind of want to say here with the unallocated. To a large degree, it doesn't matter. If you're converting your unallocated into physical, it actually doesn't matter if you sent it in on Friday night and we didn't get to it till Monday morning, because the premium difference, so the difference between spot price and the physical item price, it's very rare that changes. So, even if you sent it in on Friday and over the weekend, the world blows up and the price doubles by Monday, if it was $60 to convert on Friday from your unallocated into the physical bar or coin that you wanted, it's still, even though spot price has doubled, it's still the same $60 on Monday. So from that perspective, it doesn't matter. It only matters once you want to convert it into cash itself. So for those that don't know, with your unallocated, you can sell it back to us. There's no ongoing cost, so you can hold it for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade. It doesn't matter. There's no ongoing cost. You buy it at spot price of the day, and away you go. We back it physically. Eventually, you're going to want to either convert it into a physical item or you're going to want to sell it back to us for cash. Now, if you're selling it back to us, at that point, we take out, make sure I get this right, Rubes, it's $30 if it's an ounce of gold or a kilo of silver.
Yep.
It's $1 if it's a gram of gold or an ounce of silver.
Yep.
Is what we take off the spot price of the day. So in that situation where you've sent it in on the Friday night, Monday morning, that can matter in that period of time. Generally, what I'd suggest is that you take a snapshot of spot price from Kitco at the time, and you send it in you attach that to your email and send it in. And that way, if we get to it first thing Monday morning, or if it's an overnight thing, you've sent it in at 11 o'clock that night, usually we'll try and action it with the spot price of as soon as we come to work. If, however, we get delayed, let's say like the other week we had where the emails had fallen behind a bit because of, actually it was this week, because of all the public holidays that we had. There was a whole build-up of emails. So we didn't get to your email until Tuesday morning. Oh, no, Monday was a public holiday, wasn't it? So we didn't get to your email until Wednesday. Well, then we'd look at going back and saying, well, look, spot price has actually dropped between time. It's not their fault that it dropped between those hours. We didn't get to it until the next day. So let's go back and let's have a look, and we'll honour the price that it was at the time when that request went in, or alternatively, the first chance that reasonably we could have been expected to get to it. So I would always encourage you to take a snapshot of Kitco and just include it in, even if you're sending it in now and you know that we're open for another couple of hours, just in case it takes us till the next day to get to it.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. You actually kind of hit the follow-up portion of that question, which was, how much are the premiums or whatever on there. So
look, we do try and be fair with this. So, if it's, you can't say, I meant to send this in last week and this is the spot price from last week. That's on you. But if you've sent it to us, you've done the best you can to get it to us, and we haven't got back to it in a timely manner, we don't feel that you should be punished for that. We'll try and sort something out that's equitable there.
Yep. Have you seen anything about a couple of the US states? Phil's there mentioned Texas. I actually thought might have been a couple of them, but looking at a gold-backed local currency.
Yeah, look, a couple of the states have done it. It wouldn't shock me if they did it, but I can't believe that they won't go at this stage. None of them are going to. We're not accepting anything that's not backed by a gold currency. It's a little bit of a marketing thing at this stage. They're certainly not going to stop accepting Federal Reserve or anything like that currency. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion point at this stage. I wouldn't place too much emphasis on it.
Yep, no, that's fair. Another email question here. Hello, BN family. Can you introduce an all products option in the store menu as well as the gold, silver, palladium, platinum options? Perhaps a new items option as well.
Yeah, the new items option we've considered a few times, and that will probably occur in the medium term. Yep. The all items one we have discussed a number of times. The problem is that it would just there are times. I know at the moment the cupboard's looking a bit bare online, but there are times when that would run to dozens of pages. So I'm just not sure of how valid it would be.
Yep.
Yeah, don't know. I don't know is the short answer on that one.
That's fair. I want to have a little bit of a look here at. We've had some people as a part of. We've said, hey, feel free to send in anything that you've either got into your stack or just some cool bits you wanted to show off. We've had a couple of people send some things through. We had one here. Let me fling this one up really quick. We've got this one here, which is an old Perth Mint bar. that they actually managed to score on the second-hand market for quite a good price. I haven't got up there exactly how much because I'm not sure if they're comfortable with that or not. But they've also got it sat there next to the Bullion Now bar. They declared their other rare bar.
On tour bar.
That's it. It absolutely is.
Love it.
And yeah, it's kind of an interesting look into how a lot of people on that secondhand market, sometimes it's just a case of, oh yeah, even though it's this really cool old vintage bar, yeah, I'll just get rid of it at spot or close to spot. That's it. The price should be all right. I think they paid $400 for it, which now obviously with silver having moved up a little bit is very, very good. Because that's it. You can't buy a new local bar or something for that price at the moment. I think when I had a look, we were looking at an XAG minted for about 427 or something right now. So obviously some time has passed as well. But
I was going to say, when did he buy it would be my first question.
But that's the thing you got to look at sometimes, and we do kind of there is definitely downsides to the secondhand market. You are running the risk of a whole bunch of different things, but it absolutely is worth keeping an eye on sometimes, as this kind of proves.
This is a fascinating bar,
and it's an interesting bar. That's it.
I love they've obviously had some form of strapping on it or tape on it because it's got that cross. Like the toning hasn't gone consistently across, and you've got this cross in the middle of it. That's a stunning bar. I love that one.
Drew Murray's claiming responsibility for it in chat and drove 120 Ks, 2.5 hour round trip to go get it, and bought it last week.
Last week?
So
bargain. You've done well, mate. If you want to sell it back, we pay spot.
You might have to lock it up in a bit more of a secure safe, Michael, or Brett's going to sell it on you.
Going to have to get some stuff out of here, I think.
That's it.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in for a second, mate. There's been a number of comments about the gold backs. We actually have some coming in. And I know I've been saying that. Look, okay, I lied then. We actually have them here. And Ruben's making all sorts of faces at me now. We actually have them here. We just haven't actually worked out how we're going to process them through. So stand by. We've got some in different currency, different sizes, denominations, and from different states.
You have opened up the floodgates, and it is entirely your fault.
Please. I'm desperate
here. The phones
here.
and emails are going to murder. Yeah, Stephen's already saying beware the emails. Yeah. You are going to get murdered by the people that work here. Please do not
phone in. We're keeping a record of anyone that phones in and they are not getting any gold backs, or if you email in, or even ask over the counter, because honestly, they are not high in my priority queue as to get them online. But we will make a song and dance about it. Don't stress. They are coming. Just cool your heels. It will not be this weekend. We will give a little bit of warning before they get out there. And it's not like we sell out instantaneously on things. We will get them out there. We will give you plenty of warning.
Yeah. It's a little bit, there's some extra complications rather than it just being a normal product that we can just sell, normal, because there's an entire system around it.
And they incur GST, and Ruben's correct, there's an entire system around them because they are technically a currency. So by selling them, we need to acknowledge the fact that we will take them back as currency. So if you bring back a 50 goldbacks note and need 20 goldbacks change, then we kind of need to be able to provide that as well. So it's
how does that work if we all sell out? And,
there's all sorts of logistical things that we're kind of in the back room scratching our heads to a little bit at the moment. So cool your heels for a little while. It's not going to happen in the next week. I'll be shocked if it happened in the next month, but we will get there.
All right, this is another local treasure find from Josh that I wanted to go through. He said, "Hi guys, here is one of my cool stack finds. I was urban prospecting at a local Vinnie's in New South and came across a coin pendant necklace. It was in the checkout cabinet for $8 amongst other fashion jewelry. The necklace was junk jewelry, but the pendant had a 585 stamp. It looked a bit fake, so I thought I would take a punt. I knew the coin in the pendant was Russian, but didn't dig into what it was. Months later at Christmas time, I got it out of my drawer and rechecked it before chucking it out with other junk jewelry I was sorting through. Thought I would have a closer look and lifted one of the retaining tabs, and underneath I could see the gold. Turns out it was a white gold-plated 1897 Russian Empire 7 rubles 50 kopecks coin, which is 6.45 grams of gold for only $8.
Bargain.
I'll flick up a photo there. One of my best op shop finds. they're hoping that we can make a segment for viewers. Items like these. I've got other sweet finds that I've made over the past couple of years. The other day, I even got another haul at the local tip, including a 1986 German 1 ounce silver bar, amongst other silver and gold for $2.
Wow.
If you want, I can send pics of those items too. That'd be great. That's always a cool find.
It's actually one of the things I love about this industry and it's how I got into it when I was a little kid. It's not so much the coin or the bar; it's the story.
That's it.
Behind it, even if it's a made-up story to a degree,
and picking it up for $8.
Oh, what a story! Yeah. And finding what was a 1 ounce 86 German silver bar. Yeah. At the tip, those sort of stories is what drew me into this industry in the first place. It's fantastic. I love that sort of stuff. So if you've got those sort of stories, absolutely send them in. We love having those discussions.
Yeah, that's it. I'll flick up the email there. Send them through to live@bullionnow.com.au, and that's it. We can take a bit of a look and sit there and go, wow.
Our local tip, you're not allowed to go scrounging anymore. I remember the days where Dad would be unloading the car or the truck or whatever we were in with all the rubbish at the tip, and we'd be going around scrounging our way around the tip.
Even hard rubbish is becoming less of a thing. Yeah.
Well, council's very toey about hard rubbish around my way.
Yep.
Man, you don't want to get caught even looking sideways at hard rubbish.
I wonder if, because in Australia we don't have the culture as much surrounding stacking precious metals and things like that, if you're actually far more likely to find stuff like that in locations like that, because people are, if someone does pass away or, is having a clear out or something who doesn't understand this stuff, they're far more likely to just go, bit of shiny metal, nice coin, get rid of it for a couple of bucks without actually doing the digging. Yeah. So I wonder if that's an advantage to not having the culture around it. Whereas, if you're in a different country that understood it a lot more, there'd be a lot more hunting around.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was some comments there about, I haven't actually verified this, but apparently Perth Mint still has some 5 ounce rabbits, and people are wondering if that means it's likely to impact their mintage for this year, or if it's just that they're kind of slipping under everyone's radar, or what's the go there? Do we, obviously without knowing, we don't know mintage numbers yet.
No, we don't.
I love this look in your eye, because it's I know something, and how do I tactfully say this without irritating Perth? That's I know
without causing chaos and without irritating Perth. Yeah, that's actually probably a good description of that. I would grab them while you can. Let me put it this way: I got offered a decent slab out of Perth due to a cancelled order, and I fell over backward. I think. Yeah, I grabbed them immediately and I just said, I'll take everything.
Yep.
So we actually have a decent delivery of those turning up in the very near future. They've obviously sectioned some of them off to the Perth Mint retail shop.
Yep.
There is no indication at this stage that they are doing a second run on the 5 ounce rabbits. And what are we? April. So you've really only got 2.5 months left for them to produce any of the rabbits at all, never mind the 5 ounce. And just remember, as somebody mentioned earlier, they still haven't produced the kilo kookaburras for this year. So there's still quite a bit they still have to produce, because come July 1, and look, it's not exactly on the day, but come July 1, they're all tooling up for the 2024 release. So, the Dragons will be starting to go on the press and those types of things.
It's not kind of a small year for them. The Dragon is always big, and I don't know, has there been a Dragon release that there's been this hype there's been this much hype in the market beforehand? Or?
Yeah, the Dragon release in 2012 was huge.
Yeah, okay.
But I think this one's going to be bigger. Hugerer, if that's a word.
More bigger.
Because the 2012 one was more driven by hype of, the Dragon's going to be the collector's item of the year, or of the whole series. So everyone went out and bought everything they could.
Yeah. And
then, it's only now that the 2012 Dragon has actually started to increase in price in any sort of amount, because everyone had heaps of them.
Yeah.
This time around, I think it's going to be different, because the demand it wouldn't matter what they stamped it with.
The demand's there at the moment.
The demand's there.
Yep.
So people are going in, buying large slabs of coins irrespective of what they are. The fact that they've got the dragon on them, I think, is going to make them probably one of the key years of the Series 3. I think it's going to sell out quickly, and I think it's going to be a bun fight at the end of the day.
Yeah,
is where we're at with that one.
I talked to them about being like a group of
dragons, anything like that, any of those kind of popular series. I think all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah. I switched it up for a second there because I pushed the wrong button, but there's a clip I wanted to show that I thought was very poignant at the moment in regards to the banks. And it's an interview with Robin Williams talking about the connecting the banks, comparing them to junkies, and how they just need that little bit more money to bail them out. And I thought it was a very it's actually related to 2008, but it kind of links in very, very closely with what's going on at the moment. So I'll quickly play that and see what you think.
I talked to them about being like a group of junkies who've relapsed, going, listen, man, I just need some liquidity, you know what I'm saying? I just ran into some bad subprime, you know? We just had complex formulas. We just didn't factor in greed and panic, you know? I just need $805 billion by Tuesday. Yeah, no, seriously. No, I would not screw you again. It's pretty crazy.
I've learned my lesson.
No, baby, this is not like the other time. Seriously, I just throw me a bad here, baby.
Just give me,
help me out.
Just give me a little bit.
Yeah, just a taste. That's all I need is a taste. I need $2.5 trillion. I'll pay you back.
Get me through 1 week.
Yeah, it's like they're going to print out a new $20 bill. The new Geithner $20 bill will be, instead of "In God We Trust," it'll just say "Trust me," and it'll be the little man from Monopoly going like this.
So yeah, I thought that was very, very on point at the moment. And even though that's it,
So what's that? 14 years ago.
Yeah.
How poignant is that?
Yep. That's what I thought. It's made a bit of a resurgence recently because that's it. People have kind of noticed a couple of the different, the similarities rather. But yeah.
I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. The argument has not changed even slightly.
It really hasn't. That's it. It's and these are problems that we've been made aware of in the last 14 years, and we're obviously getting hit by it again, and we haven't learnt from history.
Yeah, history doesn't repeat itself, but gee, it rhymes.
Yeah, That's it. So yeah, that was that one. Let me have a quick look at my list here. Oh yeah, we were going to talk about what people thought of our releases over Easter. The release after release after release after release. We did 4 in a row.
So we did 4 days of releases.
We did.
So, and I had a mum in this morning saying how they'd bought on the first day and then had to buy on the second day, and then there were some good ones on the third day. And so it was an expensive Easter for her. But yeah, it was. I thought it was good fun. But I don't know. I'd be interested in feedback from the Bullion Now family as to how they felt that all went. Did we overload you with? Excuse me. Did we overload you with sales videos?
No, because it just says cleaned out my account. The other comment that I'm gonna make before someone else makes it in chat is, speaking of overloading, there was some issues with the website over that time. So very big thank you to everyone's patience on that one, and sitting there staring at the loading screen for a while, although it didn't crash. So I'm saying we're taking a step forward in the right direction. However, it did take a very long time to get through.
Yeah, we seem to have stopped the crashing issue. What we've now got is a speed issue, and we are working on it. But yeah, you'll have to take that one at face value. That's another one that's not going to fix tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's weeks down the track, but we'll get there.
It's something we're moving towards, because as us sitting there trying to check stock levels and things like that, we have to sit there sometimes staring at the same level of loading, and we're going, oh, come on. So that's it. We feel it because we sit there trying to deal with it as well sometimes, and it's not good enough. But we're going to hopefully move towards fixing it. So. Yeah, very big thank you for everyone's understanding and patience on that one. Yeah, that's it.
I thought it was good fun. I'm hoping to do more of those on some of the weekends where we can string together a few things on a long weekend when you've got a bit of time to watch the world go by and release them out there. And the only thing I would have liked to have seen is a little bit more educational content.
Yes, someone as well was hoping for some gold scattered in there as well. So not all the one metal, but actually spread it out a little bit. Obviously, that depends on what we've actually got coming in release-wise at the time.
Do some cheap kilo bars or something.
Yeah, something like that. Give them away.
Give them away.
Yeah.
How hard they are to get hold of at the moment.
There was a question before, and Peter is kind of expanding on them there, talking about what we've actually got coming in at the moment. Have we got anything lined up? Peter says, will we be getting the Queensland coat of arms investment 1 ounce silver coin out of
Yes.
We will. Cool.
Yep. We've got some penguins coming in, although we've already listed those.
We've done the video, but they're up for pre-order, so hopefully they'll actually physically be arriving soon. That'll be good.
So looking forward to those arriving. Looking forward to the wombat arriving.
Yep.
Which should actually, we're hoping it was going to arrive today, but it hadn't when I came
I was
online.
going to say, for all we know, it's come in the in the craziness, or that potentially the delivery guy got to the top of the elevator and went, I'm not waiting in line.
That's right. You kidding me? Yeah. So hopefully they'll be here today or Monday, Tuesday sort of time. So they're coming in. What else? We've got some gold backs, but we're not talking about that.
We've got a platinum buyback lined up coming up soon.
We do. Swan, the gold Swan. That comes in 18th, I believe that gets released, which would be next week.
Next week.
So looking forward to that.
Specifically the gold ones.
Yeah, let's get this painful part out the way. We won't have access at this stage to the silver one. Perth Mint like to spread the love around. And while we certainly fight for every exclusive we can get, that wasn't one that I managed to score. So can't get the silver, absolutely get the gold. So they'll be in next week. We'll be releasing those.
I think that's. I honestly reckon they'll go quick. I'm not trying to hurry the market along or anything, but I reckon they will go quick because obviously it's a great design and it's a popular series, year after year. But there's also been a bit of a gap with 1 ounce gold coins at the moment. In general, and so that's it. To have any 1 ounce gold coin at the moment, I think are going to go quick.
Yeah, I was disappointed with the allocation we got on those. They cut us back. So it won't shock me to see them sell out fairly quickly. I'm only talking the golds here. It wouldn't shock me to see them sell out fairly quickly, and I think we'll get offered a second batch because we usually do.
Yep,
we get the mop ups, but. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath. If you're in the market and you want one, I'd be getting it earlier rather than later. It's one of those things. It always comes across as a bit disingenuous because obviously I'm trying to sell them to you as a bullion dealer. But when you're starting to end up in the more art, I hesitate to use the word collector end of it because then you start incurring GST. And it's not a GST coin. It is absolutely a bullion coin. But when you're getting into those, like that end of the bullion market, you absolutely need to watch what price you're paying. I'm not trying to say that for a second, but it's the price that you will pay needs to be a little bit more elastic than, say, if we're just buying a standard bar, those types of things.
Yep. A couple of questions about upcoming releases as well. Any signs of the rectangular dragon? Someone else says that they seem to be coming out later and later every year.
No news on it yet.
Yep.
Did we? They didn't even show us one, did they?
I'm trying to remember. I think maybe. I'm pushing myself. I'll have to go back through my notes from that and see.
I want to bring back the 1 ounce kangaroo bar in silver.
Yes. Now, I think we've covered this before, but we found out talking to Perth over in Perth last time we were there that oftentimes that is kind of the result of almost leftover blanks that they've got from doing the dragon, and so kind of one release is kind of linked to the other, so it will depend on when the dragon comes out and if they've got any spares as to if they end up doing a run of those or not. I think it would be, there's definitely enough demand for it to be something that they keep doing, all the way through the year, but obviously they've got to have the spare time and the machinery and blanks and all that to actually do it. But that's kind of how they seem to work. So we'll wait and see what happens with the dragons first, and then they should follow on afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it looks like lots of love for the multiple releases.
Yeah.
A couple of people saying can never get enough of those new release videos. We're always a bit... We started this channel, absolutely we started it for advertising, but we actually started this channel more for education reasons than anything else. And I always feel a bit... I don't know what the word is. I don't want to take advantage of people by going, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this.
It's just in Michael sold out. He's actually selling products.
We just get these things in and it's like, oh, these are really cool. We really need to put these online. And Ruben will go, yeah, but the last 4 videos have been sales videos. You need to do some education. Oh, all right.
It's a healthy mix, and I think it's so long as we're not completely doing one or the other, I think it's a healthy mix for the community.
I hope so. If we're ever putting too many sales videos out there, you need to let us know because we are conscious of that.
Yeah.
Tears for Beers wants his wife's going to knit you a banana hammock, mate. What colour do you want?
I have no idea. I will have to go away and think
gold.
about it.
Always go gold, mate.
Yeah. Your mouse hit on a sore point for you. When is the 10-ounce Luna coming?
Never.
I brought this up when we were talking about the kilos actually, and talking about how there's quite a big gap between the 5-ounce silver Luna and the kilo, and that's it. That used to be filled by a very nice 10-ounce size.
Yeah. And, the 10-ounce is my favourite size. It's big enough planchet face to show the design off, and it's small enough that it doesn't break your bank. I was devastated when they announced that they weren't doing the 10-ounce in the Series 3.
Yep. Anthony wants to know how the 1-ounce bar premiums compared to the 1-ounce coin.
Not bad.
Ruse.
If it's not the same price, it's not much more. I think
because
I
of
think
it,
they are fractionally dearer.
They're more of a fan of 10-ounce bars for that reason, which is another thing that Perth hasn't done for a bit. We missed the 10-ounce bar as well.
Yeah. Wicked Mini's got a good statement there. US local shops are nearly cleaned out of 90% US constitutional silver coinage. Very popular right now. 25 times face value is common. I was just thinking back then to our 1966 50, which is probably the easiest one to do the comparison because 3 of those makes an ounce.
Yep.
So an ounce, what are we calling an ounce at the moment? Let's call it $38. So 38 divided by 50 cents. I've done that the wrong way, haven't I? So it's 76 times. 76 times its face value. That shows how much. Okay, here's a dilemma for you. Has the price of silver gone up, or has the value of your dollar gone down? So the 50 cent. 1966 50 cent piece, I would argue, is still worth the same amount because it's still worth 1/3 of an ounce of silver. It's just the fact that it now takes more dollars, more of your paper money or plastic money, however you want to look at it, to purchase it. So I would argue that the 66.50 has not gone up in value. Your dollar has gone down in value. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. How many times the face value is it?
Yep. And kind of touching on that for a bit, there was quite a bit of discussion generated kind of around that topic because of we started the Back to Basics series. We released that yesterday. And there was quite a lot of discussion there talking about different hard assets. And, I saw someone make a comment, I'm sorry, mate, I can't remember who exactly said it, but talking about just how much baked beans had gone up in the last little bit. And that's it. Yeah. Talking about different things that have gone up in value or down, or, and other hard assets that, people are sitting there wishing that they'd bought, or, use the example of buying some hay as a store of some value. And I thought that was a really interesting video to kind of go back, that's it, to basics, and explain why you should even look at hard assets and not just leave it accumulate in the bank, because that's kind of what we get taught as kids is, save this, put it in the bank, it'll be safe there. And even, I would say that the smarter when you're actually trying to educate your kids, that's often what we'll say in Australia. It's the ones that don't educate their kids that'll just say, oh yeah, spend it, do whatever. But it's if you're trying to educate someone, often you'll just end up saying, oh, put it in the bank, it'll be safe there. And you're missing a real key component there.
Sorry, mate. I'm going to interrupt because
That's
Living Adam Man is correcting me and he's 100% right. I hate it when I do maths on the run on an empty stomach. I haven't even had...
You've been
I haven't
called out.
gone near lunch yet. I forgot to divide by 3. So it is. It's 24 times face value, which is actually what I expected to come to. So, yeah, my apologies for that. It's blame that on a blood sugar level crashing. So, yeah, sorry. I totally agree. Going back to what you were talking about now.
It was golden reward there with the baked beans comment. Yeah, you got quite a few likes there. A lot of people jumping in on that one. So
yeah. So look, it's I like the Back to Basics series, and I'd like to see us do more of those. But just picking up on the hard asset thing, I guess part of the reason I wanted to do that video was to make people realise that there are alternatives to the cash and the bank. But also that hard assets are not necessarily... I'm a bullion dealer. I want you to buy, gold and silver and those sorts of things. And I think that's an important part of your stack. It should be a part of your investment portfolio. But there are other things that you can introduce. And even down to buying, let's say, toothpaste. If you can stock up on toothpaste because it's half price this week, that is a good way of protecting yourself against inflation. You're locking in an asset that you can use or a commodity that you can use over the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months at today's price, preferably on special, before this 5%, 10%, 15% inflation kicks in. So it's a great thing, and that's why I introduced the hay bales. It's to get you thinking about other things other than the standard money in the bank, cash under the mattress, buy a property, buy shares. There are other hard assets out there that can offer far better returns, far more securely, with alternative uses if it doesn't work out the way you planned. Because let's face it, I hope you're going to use toothpaste for the rest of your life, or at least a large majority of it. So, buying it now, okay, let's say that inflation goes to 0 and it never changes in price. It doesn't matter because you've still got that hard asset there backing you up. And there's a few coming through now. Toilet paper, wine, cows, whiskey, canned chili, all those sorts of things. They're all great ideas. I reckon we should do a live stream one day or a video on how many different hard assets as a Bullion Now family we can actually come up with. Yeah. Because I'm sure there's heaps that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rice is a good one, although you've got to be careful with it to make sure you store it properly.
Yep. Sorry, there's a great sarcastic comment there from Conductor Reflector. I've got to hit on. Gee, a bunch of metal stackers caught a math problem. Say it ain't so. Dealing all day with numbers, calculations, weight conversions, etc.
Yeah, wait till we start introducing. We're going to start selling things via tollers.
Oh no.
We'll start bending people's brains then, or grains. That's the other one I hate.
Yes. The other thing that we're going to have to hit on at some stage, just because of how much it's kind of taking the internet by storm at the moment, I don't really want to touch on it too much today, but talking about AI and ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff, is that likely to have any impact at all in this space of the world? It's very big in tech and things like that. I saw a thing recently somewhere that people were freaking out because they'd found that an AI had run into a problem it couldn't solve, and so it had taken to the internet to a site like Fiverr or something like that to employ someone to solve the problems that it wasn't able to do for it. Whether it was a capture or whatever it was, I can't remember. But when it's getting to that kind of level, is that likely to have any impact on this space, do you think? Yes.
AI will impact on every space there is out there. There is not a thing that AI is not going to touch. It's like saying, is the internet going to impact on something? Or is electronic calculators going to impact on things? It will come into your life no matter what. So yes, eventually it will there. I think the fact that it can't solve a problem and recognises it.
Yeah.
All through my aviation industry, I used to say to people, I don't care if you make mistakes. As long as we don't hit the ground. I don't care if you make mistakes. I want to see, and I carry this over with business as well, with the guys, everyone that works here. I don't care if you make a mistake. I want to know how you deal with the mistake. The fact that it recognised it had a problem and then it came up with a solution and then worked to that, I think is fantastic. And that's exactly what AI should be doing.
That's it.
I think it's funny, and it probably reflects back on the skills of the programmer initially. But yeah, good on them.
Ray says, Michael, having visited your office a few times, I've always seen many odd bars and coins lying around. Are you planning
you mean my office, not just the shop.
Are you planning on ever listing them all via some kind of audit on your website? When you get some spare time?
I always intend on, but they very rarely get chance because usually what happens is someone's sitting in... For those that don't know, my office is used as the overflow for the shop occasionally or sometimes, more frequently. Overflow. Yeah, well, that's right. We've got the main shop, then we've got the overflow room out the back, and then my office, they chuck me out of my office and it becomes becomes the overflow, as Rubes just said. Quite often what happens is people go, what's that sitting on the corner of your desk? And invariably it's something that, it's a one-off or it's a, something odd that's come through the store that no one knows how to deal with quickly. So it's kind of, Michael will look after that, just put it on his desk and he'll sort it out. And most times, even though I intend on putting them up on the web or doing a video on them, most times people go, how much do you want for it? Oh, well, yeah, okay, I'll take it. And they disappear before I have a chance to do anything with them.
Yeah. There's one here from Obi-Wan. I'm going to pronounce it. It's A-U-B-I. I'm going to say Obi because I'm a Star Wars fan and it's close enough. Obi-Wan says, hi from Perth. Could you do more auctions? Also, could you improve the sorting preferences to allow for cheapest to most expensive and newest to oldest?
I would love those options. Unfortunately, they don't seem to... Medium term, again, we're coming back to that. I think we will.
Yep.
But at the moment, we can't. And more auctions. We would love to run more auctions. But we are just flat out. We are so flat out at the moment. We've got a backlog of, I reckon, Rubes, about 100 different items. Well, probably more that we're trying to get up there.
And that ties into what we were saying before, is that the person that will actually get a lot of those organised is Adam. And he at the moment is kind of run off his feet because he's lost Lewis. So it's kind of one of those.
If you want a job,
that's it.
Resume at bullionnow.com.au, RESUME at bullionnow.com.au. Send in your resume.
And that will probably lead to more auctions in a roundabout way, not really. Yeah. I saw before as well, Email wanted to know what was on the mug behind you. That's one that Emma, a dispatcher, got sorted for us, and it's a not financial...
Trash on the place.
Not financial advice. Yeah, there you go.
Will it focus?
Yeah.
I'll probably just upset all your focusing, haven't I?
No, it's done well. We'll see if it goes back to you. That'll be the question. But yeah.
All good stuff.
Very
yes,
nice one.
Em made up a couple of those. I think this it was done by. I might be wrong. No, I can't remember. One of our customers designed it.
Yep.
And sent it in, and Em had it put on a mug for me. A couple of mugs. Yeah. It's been very useful over time.
I've just been sent a message that if you break a somewhat threatening message from the dispatch team that if you break that mug,
it's from dispatch, is it?
Yeah, bad things will happen. So make sure that one stays intact.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Emma. Sorry, Emma. There's a couple of questions there. Are we getting gold granules back?
Look, we can get gold granules at any time. If they're not on the web, phone in and place an order. We can get them. I just have to get organised with them. And it hasn't been a huge priority for us. There's a lot of other things I've been chasing around in circles. But if the demand's there, we'll absolutely get them in.
Sorry, the comment there, is that also the email address if we want priority combined shipping invoices? No. In fact, even less, like... way at the bottom of the list, because we only really we tend to, we'll periodically check it, but we do not check that one frequently as often as we do the sales email.
Probably gets checked once a week rather than 15,000 times a day.
That's it. So definitely not. Oh dear. There was another one there from Mark Twain. Michael, I'm curious, do you follow the gold and silver price chart fundamentals?
Yes.
I guess that's more of a question about you personally, because for a business kind of side of things, it's almost irrelevant when it comes to to our hedging and whatever. Does it really make that much of it? Like, yeah, that's it. Do you need to be paying attention to the fundamentals?
Yeah, I would say you do. You absolutely do. Because like it's just part of getting the overall picture and knowing like even as a business, as a business owner in this, I need the overall picture of what's going on and what's influencing what and why this is happening and how will it impact, this and that and the other. So there's many reasons as to why you need to know about everything. You try and be an expert in nothing, but have some knowledge in all areas.
Yeah.
Subliminal vibes. If you're after granules, just phone in or send us an email. We can certainly organise it even if they're not on the web.
Yeah. Have we got anything kind of... I know for a while there we were talking...
Hang on, can I just drag you back? Because there's a little bit of a conversation starting about premiums on granules.
Yep.
The premiums are actually not that bad. The problem is because they're granules, they incur GST. So, and this is why they don't become a huge priority for us, because they do cause us a lot of grief. We don't make any money out of the granules. Because we have to charge GST on them, they become an ounce of gold granules is at least 10% dearer than an ounce of Perth Mint gold or something along those sort of lines because of that GST issue there.
Yeah. There's a really, really good question here that I actually really like from WeStackAU. Does Australia allow foreigners to come visit and dig for gold, or do you have to be a local? Can someone come in from overseas on a holiday and break out the pickaxe and go mining for some gold? Or
there are certain areas where you can just rummage around and look for gold. You can pan in the rivers, that sort of stuff. There's some basic licensing required. I'm not an expert in this. You need to check with whoever's in charge of holes in the ground these days. I can't remember. But yeah, you need that sort of stuff. But look, if you're over here on holiday and you wanted to go out and do some fossicking, no one's going to blow a tyre over it. Don't stress.
Although a lot of people will go for the classic Sovereign Hill experience or something like that, and go for the kind of more tourist side of things as opposed to hiking a couple of days out into the middle of nowhere and attacking it that way.
If you're breaking out the backhoe and that sort of stuff, absolutely. Now we're talking, you've got to have all sorts of things for that. But yeah, if you're, there's a few people that obviously have far more knowledge than me that are jumping in now saying a prospecting permit. Absolutely, I can't tell you where that comes from. Crown land must have miners' rights. Yeah, you need a license for a particular state. All those types of things. But it's not a big deal. It's the same. It's not much more complex than getting a fishing license. In Victoria. Other than Queensland, I don't think I've got one anywhere else. It's not a big deal. It's not like you have to take a test and do a 3-month course or anything along those sort of lines.
Yep. MSKR has an interesting one there. Heard you can't take gold out of Tassie. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, you saw that time I got stuck at Hobart Airport?
Well, there's that. I think I thought they were more referring to like actual nuggets or something mined over there. But yes, we did also run into issues trying to get gold out of Tasmania.
As far as I'm aware, there's no issue. But again, that's not something. It's not something that I've kind of investigated very heavily because I had enough trouble getting out of Hobart Airport on the best of days. So
yep. We've made it an hour and 10 without someone asking. Well, actually, no, there was someone that asked it around about the hour mark, I think. But they wanted to know if there's any update at all in the PayPal space. Just the weekly question that we've kind of got to go through. What's the latest on that?
Let's before everyone jumps in and says I love, I hate PayPal. We get it. Yep. There's a real divide there. Completely understand that. We did do the soft launch. We talked about that. We've tidied up most of the issues, is my understanding. I'm hoping for another soft launch within the next week or so. We're not going to make an announcement like I just did, but we think we've got most of it sorted out, and we will be trying again and just seeing how it's going. Yep.
Mike, just keep saying website. I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to there.
Has the website crashed?
No, I've still got it up, bullionnow.com.au. If that's what you were after, I can pop a link to it in the chat there. But yeah, we'll clarify because I'm not 100% sure what you're afterwards there. The other thing that we've made it this far into the stream without talking about is we don't have a Matt. You're all by yourself.
Oh yeah. I just used to talking all the time. I forgot he wasn't there.
Well, that's it. I had to laugh. Simbunji made a comment before about the room setup looks more balanced this week, and I had to wonder if that was a stab at Matt or not, or just the different angle. But
so Matt's away today. All of a sudden, he felt the need to disappear, so he's disappeared for the day. But we're really hoping that he's back on board next week, and that he makes an appearance on next Friday's live stream at 2:30.
That's it, and we've
Melbourne time.
I was going to say we've sorted out some of the daylight saving shenanigans now. I think a little bit around the world, so hopefully we will be at this time for at least a little while longer. But yeah. Did you want to start winding it up, or is there a couple of other things you wanted to...
I think we need to wind it up. I hadn't realised we'd kind of gone as long as we had.
Yes.
Hang on, check the cameras. What's the queue like? Should we keep going so we don't have to go out there?
Can't admit to that being... Come on. Can't do that. There is quickly something I want to touch on there with someone mentioning is what's likely to happen with Wednesday streams. What's happening in that space.
Oh, no, I like Simbunji's comment. I wasn't suggesting that the plant was in any way a substitute for Matt.
You've just said it now. I wasn't thinking it until you said it.
Wednesday live stream. So we've, rightly or wrongly, we've dropped Wednesday's live stream. And the intent was to replace it or to go back to doing the Michael's mailbox, the pre-recorded mailbox. It hasn't kind of worked out as smoothly as we'd hoped. It's a lot of demand on... the resources to run a live stream. It pulls Ruben out of the shop, pulls me out of the shop, pulls Matt out of the shop. And it's not that it's not important, it's just where do we allocate the resources? Even in just this hour and a half's discussion with everyone, we've come up with all sorts of things that, Michael, why isn't this in place? And, it's a time issue. It keeps coming back to a time issue. So that's why we've kind of pulled back on that Wednesday live stream. Doesn't mean we'll never do another Wednesday live stream. I'd actually like to drop a couple of random live streams here and there moving into the future. But that's where we are at the moment. We've kind of pulled back from that Wednesday for a little bit.
We do want to, again, because of the craziness, we haven't really gotten to it as much as we'd like. But we would like to still do some of the Michael's mailboxes, as that's it, that pre-recorded thing, and really go through some of those questions that either went well over my head, or I sat there and went, yep, no, that one's a you one, Michael, you can answer that one. Or just they require a further explanation, or there's a lot of people asking it, or whatever it is. I think it does work well to kind of go through and expand upon some of those questions, and people seem to like that. So that's probably the direction we're likely to move with Wednesday at the moment. And yeah.
I love this. Changing topics slightly. Look, there's no Friday special this week. We will, and it's purely been a time issue. We will endeavour to have one for next week.
Yep.
I love Conducto Reflecto. Can Australians buy Russian PMs, or is it verboten there as well? I want some because the man says I cannot have it. It's amazing how when somebody says you can't have that,
yep.
Like... We've seen we had some buyback Russian coins in.
Why can't I have it?
Yeah, and you just they're gone in milliseconds now, and we have people chasing them, hunting them down. They want them because they're not allowed them.
And I've got a throwback to early in the stream. Apparently, the spot to search for them is op shops. You can pick them up at fractions of spot price.
That's right.
Oh dear. Sorry, had to throw that in there. But yeah, it's always an interesting thing, the psychology behind that. But why can't I have it?
Don't know if we've got any more Ram Scorpions coming. I haven't got any on the cards at the moment, but I am looking for some. Believe it or not, we've been trying to do a Saturday launch for ages, and every time I kind of get us in a position to do a Saturday open the shop, either one of two things happens. We lose someone, so we lost Lewis this time round, or I have such a hard time keeping stock in Monday to Friday that if I open the door on Saturday, we'd actually have nothing there. So, yeah, it's still on the cards. We still plan on opening on the Saturday. We just haven't got there yet.
Yep. Any other 1 ounce gold coins coming besides the Swan next week?
Oh, I'm sure there is, but no, I can't think of any. There won't be any more, I don't think, any new ones next week other than that, I believe, unless Ruben's going to correct me.
Did we harass you enough either on the video or on this stream to make sure there's some John Wick gold ones coming? That's my takeaway.
Yes, we will put in the order for them. We may have even already put the order in, but we are certainly chasing some.
Arsenic wants to know, apparently you've been waiting 3 weeks for a combined shipping invoice. Is that part of the course, or have I slipped through the cracks?
No, you've absolutely slipped through a crack. If you said 3 days, I'd say, I'm really sorry, we've stuffed up. But 3 weeks, there's no emails that are 3 weeks old. I've been clearing out some of the older ones, and I think I'm only back 2 days, I think. And that was early this morning. So resend the request in, mate, and I fully apologise for that. That should never have taken that long.
Yep. Hopefully we can get that one sorted for you. Is there any dolphin coins? Have we heard anything from them?
They are coming. I don't know. I know no other information other than the fact that they should be coming.
Alrighty. I think we need to take off about now. There is a few people lined up in a queue out there, so we. I was going to say
that's really good.
Nah, too late. We caught the live reaction to that. So I think we better call it there. Considering how thrown together and last minute this stream was, I think we've done all right.
Alrighty.
And hopefully next week we can actually start on time at 2:30 Melbourne time.
Sounds good.
We'll see how we go for that. But yeah, stay tuned for some exciting videos next week, and we will see you next Friday.
See ya.